Good morning, students. So, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, today we'll move on with the next module, that is the fourth module of your syllabus, in which again you have four chapters from the textbook, that is classes and objects, classes and functions, classes and methods, and inheritance. So, I hope you have learned a subject called as object oriented concepts. Have you learned it, OOC? So,
Yes, ma'am.
in that you have learned about classes, you have learned about objects, then you have learned about inheritance. So all those concepts once again is there in this particular module. Okay, so all your object oriented concepts, that is here, again, polymorphism you must have learned in that. Even that concept is included here. Overloading also, all those object oriented concepts we are going to see here. Okay, so in the previous modules you have learned about how we can use dictionary. So when you say dictionary, we said that it is key as well as value pair, right? Using which you could group the data together. Then you also learned about functions, so how you can define a function using the define statement, in which again you could group the statements. All those things we have learned in the previous modules. Okay, so now we'll come to the concept of object oriented programming. So Python is an object oriented programming language. So when you say object oriented programming language, the importance or emphasis is given for objects. When you say procedure oriented, there it is importance for functions, but whereas here it is objects. So everything is treated as a object. Okay, that is, everything is an instance of some class. So here we are going in the first chapter, we are going to learn about classes and objects. So first of all, class. So in simple words, if you're saying, we can say class is a way how you can group together related data as well as functions. Here when you say data, it can be your variables. Functions, we know, group of statements. So that is, you can say class is a way of grouping together your related data as well as functions. Also, you can say class is a kind of data type, like how you have learned string, integer, all those things. Similarly, class is also a kind of data type. So we can create object of that data type. So what are we doing? For a particular class, we can create object. So we can have any number of objects that belongs to a particular class. Okay, so the objects what we create, we can call it as instance of a class. So all these concepts you've already learned in OOC. Just a recap of all those things. So object, you're calling it as an instance of a class. Then you can have any number of objects for a class. So the process of creating the object, you can call it as instantiation. Okay. Then some real life example, if you're saying, suppose you want to construct a house. So first of all, we are going to create a blueprint, right? So using that blueprint, so in the blueprint, what will be there? Where you can have the window, or where the door can be kept, or where you're having kitchen. All those information will be there in your blueprint. According to that, you're going to construct your house, right? So this blueprint, you can call it as a class, and based on that blueprint you're going to build the house. So that is nothing but your object. Okay, so if you're having the blueprint, you can create any number of house, right? When you're having the sketch, you can construct any number of houses which are which is same as that particular sketch. So that is what we are saying. For a class, that is, here class means you consider it as a blueprint. uh, One blueprint is there, and you can have any number of house constructed, which is matching that blueprint. That is, for a class you can have any number of objects. So the process of creating that object, you're calling it as instantiation. So that is just a brief introduction about classes and objects. Now we'll come to the first chapter in this module, that is classes and objects. Okay, So here the first topic what we are going to see here is programmer defined types. So we said when we tell the introduction, class is a kind of a data type. That is what here we are saying. A programmer defined type, you can also call it as a class. Okay, so here about Python built-in types we have seen in the previous module. So here we are seeing how we are going to define a new type. That is nothing but programmer defined type. That is nothing but how you can define a new class. So here for the example point of view, they have given you a class called as point. That is point that is representing a point, that two-dimensional space. So here you can see how you can define a class. So if you're going back to functions chapter, so there we had defined a function wherein we used uh, that is def, that is for your defined statement we had used the keyword def. Similarly here, whenever you want to create a class, you should use the keyword called as class, followed by the name of the class, writing in capital the first character. So class followed by name of the class, and after that you're going to put a colon here. Okay, so this particular example that is given here, this is for class called as point, wherein point is representing that is in two-dimensional space. So if you are speaking about the mathematical notation of a point, so there how you're going to represent, you're going to represent within the bracket x comma y. That is x is representing the position in the x coordinate, and y is in the y coordinate. So there are different ways how we can represent the points in Python. So the first way, what we can say is we could store the coordinates separately in two variables x and y, or we can store the coordinate elements in the form of list. Again, list we have already come across it. Then we can also create a new type to represent points as a object. So anyway we can follow any of this method we can do, but here we will see how we are going to create a class and how we are going to use the concept with this example. Okay, so we can say that creating a new type is more complicated than all other options, but here we are following the third technique. That is, we said different ways. In the first way we are saying coordinates can be stored separately, next coordinates as in the form of a list, and the third way we are saying we can create a new type to represent points as a object. So here the example what we are going to see is a third way technique, wherein we are going to create a new type to represent point as a object. So what is that new type? That is this class. We are going to create a class with the name point. Okay, so here the program defined type, we are calling it as class. The definition here, class followed by the keyword class followed by the name of the class, that is in this case it is point. Then put a colon. After that you're going to write, you can see here in double quotes you have some string, so you can just write it inside the double quote also. That is this is called as your doc string. So the first string that is inside the class, so this particular string you're calling it as a doc string. So if you have come across a C language or a C++, there we spoke something called as comment. So in the beginning of the program you will write, within the comment you will write what is the purpose of that particular program or what that particular program is going to do, right? Similarly here, after the class, that is inside the class, the first string what you have, that is called as your doc string. So this is going to give you the brief description of the class. So what is that class for? So now in this example, what is the purpose of this class, or what is this class for? This is to represent a point in two-dimensional space. So here in your textbook, they have given it this way. That is, you can see here multiple quotes are there. Instead of that, you can simply represent it in the form of a string. That is just double quotes. You can write this. Okay. So that is how you are going to define a class wherein you have the keyword class followed by name of the class. Here the name of the class is point, and this particular string, the first string but which is after within this class, that is called as a doc string, which is going to give you the description or the purpose of this particular class. Okay, so here you can see this, you can call it as a header, which is indicating that a new class called as point. Then within this you're calling, that is, you can also call it as the body, which is having the doc string. Okay, next we'll see how you can create a object. So we said object is nothing but a instance of a class. Okay, so just see this diagram here. So here your class is point, class name is point, and you're creating a object. So how you can create an object? So you can just call point like how you're calling a function. So you can see here, name of the class you have written as point, and opening and closing braces, and that what you have assigned to some other variable. Here it is blank. So here blank is nothing but the object. Same thing, I think in your OOC you had used the new keyword, class followed by is equal to new class name. So some object name is equal to new class name. That is how you created in your OOC. That is creating an object for a class. So here how we are going to create the object, just call the name of the class like how you're calling a function. So the name of the class is point, open and close the within the that is, you're using the parenthesis that is assigned to some here in this case it is blank. So blank is nothing but the object for your class point. That is what is shown here in this diagram. You have the class point and blank is the object. Okay. So that is a thing here. So the process of creating an object for a class is called as instantiation, and the object is nothing but you can call it as instance of the class. Okay. So that is a thing here. I'll just show you with an example. Okay. We'll just see this example. So we'll come from here. So first of all, you have the name of the class. So the name of the class here is point. Okay. After that, you have written something inside, that is, you have a string here. So the string is nothing but the, that is what we told it as doc string. So this doc string, what is this doc string? This is nothing but it is going to give you the description of your class. So this particular class is a two-dimensional, that is two-day representation. Next, after that, what is this particular statement? So we said how you can create an object. So how you can create an object? You can just call the class like how you're calling a function. So name of the class, and after that you have the opening and closing braces. That is nothing but uh, your that is blank is nothing but the object what you have created. Okay, so how you are creating the object, just call the name of the function, sorry, name of the class. Okay, how you are calling a function like that, but here it will be name of the class. Then opening and closing parenthesis that you have assigned to some other variable, so that is nothing but your object here. So here the object is blank. So I'll just run this particular code and I'll explain. So just we'll see step by step. So here, okay. So we have created a class, and after that you can see here class main dot point. So here what we are saying here is this point is defined, this particular class point is defined at the top level. So its name will be class main underscore point. So that is how we are getting by using this type. Okay, type underscore blank. So that is your class will be at the topmost level, which will have the name as this. Okay, class followed by underscore name dot name of the class. Here the name of the class is point, And after that, the next statement you can see here, main, and this is underscore, so it is two times you have the underscore, followed by name of your class, and after that some address is given to us. So this address is nothing but this is telling where it is stored. This your where it is stored in your memory, that information is stored here. That is, you have created an instance for a class. So when you want to print instance, Python tells us what class that particular object belongs to and where it is stored in the memory. So here you can see here it is prefixed by 0x. So that 0x is nothing but the hexadecimal. Okay, so this is going to tell you where your particular instance, that is the object for this particular class, is stored. So this, how you're going to get is, you are giving print followed by blank. So this particular type blank, so this blank is nothing but the instance what you have created for the class called as point. Okay, type blank is going to tell you at which level your this object is there. Whereas when you give print blank, what happens, in which particular location, that is your memory address. So it is hexadecimal followed by some address value is there. Here in this particular location you have the instance of your class. Then after that, next point what we are going to come, so that is your next topic, that is attributes. Okay, so attributes, that is how you can give the values to this x and y. We'll come back to the program here. Okay, so here we have created the object, that is object name is blank. Next thing what we have to do, we have to assign the value to the instance. So what is our instance? That is the object that is blank. Okay, so in the diagram you have seen here, in the first diagram, so blank is nothing but the object. So you have two values here, that is x and y. Now we have to assign the values to this x and y. So for assigning, we are using what is called as a dot notation, that I'll show here. Okay, so you can see here, blank dot x is equal to, we have assigned the value 3.0. Similarly, blank dot y, we have given a value as 4.0. So what are we doing in this step is, we are assigning the values to the instances what you have created. So how we are going to assign, by using dot notation. Okay, so we are assigning values to the elements of the object. That is nothing but, you can call it as, these elements you can call it as attributes. So what are the attributes here? That is x and y. So x is having a value 3.0 and y is having a value 4.0. So that is what you can see here in this diagram. X is 3.0, y is 4.0. So this is nothing but the object diagram. Okay, wherein the object and its attributes are shown here. Object is blank and the attribute, so this particular object blank is having two attributes, that is x and y, and the corresponding value, that is 3.0 and 4.0. Okay, so how you can assign the value, that is blank dot x is equal to 3.0, blank dot y is equal to 4.0. That is what we have done in this particular program. So we have assigned this value. Now we'll just print that value. Just one of the value, will check whether that assignment has happened or not. That is nothing but your print blank dot x. So when you're giving print blank dot x, what happens? Whatever value you have given, just check whether it is assigned or not. So we'll just check here with the result. So you can see here what is the first output you got, that is 3.0. So these two lines are for this type blank and print blank, and the next output what you got is 3.0. So this 3.0 is nothing but, you have printed the value of blank dot x. So here we assign the value 3.0 and here you are going to print that value. So what happened now, that assignment has been successful, right? So you're getting the answer, that is 3.0, which is the value of blank dot x. Okay. Similarly, next what you're doing. So blank dot x, whatever value is there, that you're assigning it to some other variable here x. So what you're doing, blank object refers to and get the value of x. So blank dot x, whatever value it was referring to, that has been assigned to another variable called as x here. So again, just check the value of x, whether it is having the value of blank dot x. So that will check with the result. So you can see the next output what you got is 3.0. So this 3.0 is nothing but you have printed print of x. So this print of x is nothing but in blank of x, whatever value is there, that you have to print. Okay. After that, along with that, you're printing percentage d, you're printing the value of blank of x and blank dot x and blank dot y. That is nothing but what is the output you got 3 comma 4. That is nothing but you are telling in the integer format you printed blank of x and blank of y. Blank of x you gave the value as 3.0, dot y you have given as 4.0. While printing, you print it as an integer value, that is 3 and 4. That is the next output what you got. You got the answer as 3 and 4. Okay. Now the next step what you are doing here, distance is equal to math dot square root. So we know this sqrt is a built-in function. So this built-in function, if you want to use in a program, then you have to include, that is we have to import math. Okay, we have to import this module math. So within this module math, you have this sqrt. So for that purpose, what you have done, math.sqrt. The meaning of that is, in the math module, you have a function or you have a method called as sqrt. Use that. So what is this task doing? Blank dot x. In blank dot x, what do we have? We have 3 or 3.0 also you can say. You have put double star. So this double star is nothing but it is representing the exponent value. Okay. So here what is the exponent? Blank dot x is 3. So 3 to the power of 2. That is nothing but you got the value as 9. Plus blank dot y you have 4. 4 to the power of 2 you have 16. So how much it will be? 9 plus 16. 9 plus 16 is nothing but 25. So it is math dot square root of 25. So how much you should get? Square root of 25 is, you should get a result as 5. Just check the output whether it is correct. So you can see here you got the answer as 5.0. So what we have done here, we found the exponent of the value x and y, then we summed it up, then we found the square root of it. So what is the answer you got? You got the answer as 5. That is what is displayed here. Okay, that is the next thing what you have to say. And the last one under this attribute is, here you can see here we have used the define statement. That is, we are having a function whose name is print underscore point. Okay, so we are defining a function called as print underscore point, and for that you're passing a parameter. That is, what are you passing? That is, you're passing this object or you're passing the instance of the class. So what will happen here? You're calling the function print point and you're passing the argument as blank. So what is there in blank? What is there in blank? You have x and y. So the value of x is 3.0, value of y is 4.0. So what happens now? So you're passing blank, right? So blank means it is having x and y value. So what are you printing now? Percentage d, percentage d, p dot x. So blank, when you're this argument here, it is replaced as p. P dot x comma p dot y. That is 3.0 and 4.0 will be printed. That is what the output you have got here. that is 3 and 4. You have given print integer, so it is displayed as 3 and 4. If your that is your floating means, then it will be 3.0 and 4.0, but it is print here, so it is 3 and 4. So this is the program what you have to write if they're asking you uh, an example how you can define a class and how you can assign the values to the attribute, and also some operation. Here what is operation you have done? You have found the exponent and you have calculated the square root of the values of attribute, and along with that you have also spoken about function. You have a function that is print point, wherein you're passing some parameter. That parameter is nothing but, here what is the parameter you're passing? You're passing the object. Okay, so that particular object blank will have two attribute, that is x and y. That value will be printed. So that is what is your last result, that is 3 comma 4. That is nothing but p dot x and p dot y. What is this p? P is nothing but your blank. So blank dot x and blank dot y value will be printed. So this is all about your the first part. So in the textbook they have given as a separate program. Attributes they have given as separate part. Just this is about your program defined type and attributes. Okay. So next we'll go to the next topic, that is rectangle. So again in this also they are telling how to create the class. So I hope by now you know how to define a class, right? So we are using the keyword called as class followed by name of the class. Name of the class in this particular case is rectangle. And after that you are going to put a colon. Okay, you have to write that. Then after the class name, after following the class name, you have the string. So that string you can call it as a doc string. Okay. So what is this doc string? Doc string is nothing but this is going to give you a brief description about the class. Now in this example, what is this class for? This particular class is to represent the rectangle. What are the attributes of this class? Attributes include width, height and corner. Okay. So that is about your rectangle class, and you can see here object diagram. So rectangle is a class, and the object or the instance what we are going to create, that the instance name or the object name is box. And what are the attributes? Attributes are width, height and corner. You can see this corner is again referring to the class point. Okay, that we'll see. For time being, the name of the class rectangle, docstring, information about that particular class. Then next, what is this line we have done? Box is equal to rectangle. So we said in the previous example, whenever you want to create an object for a class, then just write the name of the class as if you're calling a function, that is parenthesis. Name of the class followed by the parenthesis. So this is how you are going to create the object for a class. Once you have created the object, what is the next part you have to do? You have to assign the values to the attributes. So what are the attributes of this class? Attributes are width, height and corner. So what you are assigning, that is width you are assigning the value as 100.0, height you are assigning as 200.0, and you can see here corner x is equal to point, that is box dot corner. What is this box? Box is nothing but the object. So box dot corner, it is equal to point. So what is the meaning of this? For this corner again you have the attribute. What are the attribute? That is x and y. In the point class, whatever value you have for x and y, those are the attributes for your corner. Okay, so you can see here corner dot x is equal to 0, corner dot box dot corner dot y is equal to 0. So this box dot corner dot x, it means that go to the object box, go to the object box, that is box, and within that box, that is go to the object box that which refers to. So it is going to come here to corner. Select the attribute named corner. Okay. So go to box, select the attribute called as corner, and then you have to go to the object and select the attribute name, here in this case x. So for box.corner.x, what is the meaning of this? It means that go to this box, and within that box go to the attribute corner, and that corner is referring to, if you're saying box.corner.x, it means x, otherwise it means y. Okay, so that is the meaning of this. So again, you have the object diagram which is going to give you the complete information about this. So what you have to tell under rectangle? In rectangle, again, example is given wherein you are writing or you're defining the class with the name rectangle. You're writing the doc string, then you're creating the object or the instance of the class. Here the instance of the class is box, and the next step is you have to assign the values to the attributes. So what are the attributes of your box object? That is width, height and corner. So width and height you can directly assign, but corner, what you're going to do, again you have to refer this point class. Okay, so box.corner.x is nothing but go to this box and go to the attribute corner, and from there you have to go to the attribute x, that is initialized to 0, and y also initialized to 0. This is about your rectangle. And the next topic, that is instance are written values. So here you can see functions can return instances also. That is what here we are saying. Instances as written value. So the written type of a function can be an instance. So you can see here we have a function. So the name of the function is find center. Okay, so we have used the define statement. Define, that is name of the function, find center. So what you're telling here, the return type here, what is the function returning? Function is returning p, so that p can be an instance. That is what we want to say here. Okay, so p is equal to point, and after that what you're going to do, this point is nothing but again the name of the class. P is nothing but the object what you have created for the class point. Okay, so, or in other way you can say p is the instance of the class point. Next what we are going to do, p dot x is equal to rectangle dot corner dot x. Rectangle dot corner dot x. Rectangle corner x. Okay, similarly p dot y is rectangle corner y. Then along with that, width, you're considering width by 2, rectangle dot width by 2. So what is the width value? 100. Width value you have given as 100 by 2 means 100 by 2 is nothing but 50. Okay, so corner dot x, initially what value you have? Corner dot x you have 0, corner dot y you have 0. Okay, so what will happen here? 0 plus rectangle dot width by 2. So width you have given as 100, so 100 by 2 is nothing but 50. That is what the result you are getting here. So 50 is written here. Similarly, a rectangle dot corner dot y, initially you have made it 0, and height, what height value? Height value you have given as 200. So 200 divided by 2, it will be 100. So that is what you are getting here, 50 comma 100. So here what we are saying, the written type here. So written type is nothing but an instance. Okay, that is instances has written value. That is the function is going to return a value. That value is nothing but a instance. So you can see here center is equal to find center box. So this is in your main program wherein you're calling the function find center, and the argument you're passing is box, and the result of this particular function. So whatever written value is there, that is stored in this variable center. So next what you're going to do, you're going to print center. So here it is just given as print print point. So here print point is nothing but yeah, Just to come to this program. So print point is nothing but this particular function. Okay, print point p. So what you're going to do, print point, instead of p here it is center. That center, what value you have, that is 50 and 100, that is displayed. So your output will be 50 comma 100. So how did we get it? We got it by adding rectangle dot corner dot x and width by 2. So here this value is initialized to 0. Width was how much was the width? 100. 100 by 2 is 500, and next one 200 by 2, that is 100. That is nothing but your result what you have got. Just a small topic in which you are saying that the written type of a function can be an instance. Just example program for that. Next topic, that is objects are mutable. So whenever we say mutable means something can be changed, right? So what we are saying under this topic is we can change the state of an object by making an assignment to one of the attribute. So here, what are the attributes? If you are speaking about rectangle, what are the attributes? Attributes are width and height. So what are we saying? We can change the state of an object. Means you can change some value or attribute value. How we can change? By making an assignment either to one of the attribute, even one also, even if you're applying for one attribute also, it will change. So this is the example what we are saying. So you can see here box width is equal to box width plus 50. So what is the meaning of this? Initially, box width, suppose you're having a value 100. Now, for that 100, if you're adding 50, that is nothing but you are changing the value of box width, right? That is nothing but you have that is mutable. That is, objects are mutable. You have changed the value of width. Similarly, height also can be changed. How we have done here? Box height is equal to box height plus 100. This is an example wherein you're telling you can change the state of an object. How we can change the state of an object? By changing the attributes. So here attributes were width and height. Similarly, next example, we can also write functions that modify the object. So here we have a function whose name is grow rectangle, which is taking the attribute, that is rectangle object, and two numbers. What are the two numbers here? That is width and height. And then what it is going to do, it is going to add the numbers to the width and height of the rectangle. So here we can see rectangle width is plus is equal to, so plus is equal to is nothing but the shortened operator what you have used. So the equivalent statement for this is rectangle width is equal to rectangle width plus whatever you are passing here, this d width whatever you are passing, d height whatever you are passing, that will be added. So this is how you can change the value, or you can mutate an object, that is in the function you are writing that. Okay, so that is one case. Here you can see, and here what we have done, box dot width dot height. Here the value of box width, here in this case directly you're changing. Previously it was 100, now you made it 150. Box height, yeah, that is just the output here. So previously it was 100, box width was 100, height was 200, box dot height. But now what happened, since you have done this, it became 150 and height became 300. Similarly, grow rectangle. So you can see here grow rectangle, that is nothing but the function name. For the function name, what are the parameter you have to pass? So here you have passed box, that is nothing but the instance or the object, you can say d width. D width is how much? 50. D height is 100. So what does it do? Box width, box height. It is going to change. Width is equal to width plus 50. Height is equal to height plus 100. That is what it is going to do. So this is all about your objects are mutable. So remember, when you're saying mutable means you can change the value. And in this particular chapter, that is classes and objects, this is the last topic, that is copying. So copying an object is that is, if you want to copy some data, that is, we have to import, or we have to import a module called as copy. So this copy module contains a function called as copy that is going to duplicate any object. So we know what is object. Object is nothing but the instance, right? If you want to duplicate the object, then you can use a method called as copy. So if you want to do this task, then you have to write import copy. Okay, you have to import this module copy, because inside that you have the function called as copy. So what is this going to do? This is going to duplicate any of the object. Okay, so here you can see p1, you have created an object for the class point. What is that object? That is p1, and you have assigned the value p1 dot x is 3.0, p1 dot y is 4.0. Now next, what you're going to do, P2 is equal to copy dot copy of P1. So what are you going to do? P1 and P2 will be containing the same data, but they are not the same point. They are not the same point, but only the data will be same. Okay, only the values will be same, but they are not the same point. Okay, so that is the thing here. So if you are saying print point, so you have an example here, print point. So print point is the function, and the parameter you are passing is p1. So what will happen, that you have already seen in the previous in this code, print point. So what does this print point method do? It is going to print the value of x and y. Okay. So here when you say print point p1, so it is going to print the value of p1 object. So p1 object is having two attributes, that is x and y. The values 3 and 4 will be printed. Similarly, p2 also, when you say, it will have the same value 3 and 4. But p1 is p2. So they are not equivalent. So that is what we said. Only the values will be same, but still they are two different points. Okay, only the values will be same, but physical existence are two different. Okay, so that is what here, p1 is p2 equivalent also, they're not equivalent, so it is given false. Here you can see the is operator, so that is going to tell that p1 and p2 are not the same object. So p2 is a separate object, p1 is a separate object, but only the values will be same. Okay, again equivalent also, it is going to return false. Next, you also have one more, yeah, one more example here, that is about deep copy. Yeah. Okay. So we have, you can see here, box 3 is equal to copy dot deep copy dot box. So this copy module provides a method called as, you can see here, deep copy. So this is going to copy not only the object, but also the object it refers to. So this will be opposite of this. So here what did we say? They are two different. Okay, they are two different people, that is two different objects, but values will be same. But whereas in deep copy, what does it do? It is going to create, that is, copies not only the object but also the object it refers to, and that objects they refer, and that again might be referring to some other object, even that will be copied. So in this case, this you can call it as, or this task can be done by the method called as deep copy. Okay, so you can see here, box 3 equal to copy dot deep copy box. So it is, box 3 is box that is given as false. So what we are saying here, box 3 and box are completely separate objects. They're not the same objects. Okay. That is about your copying. So this is all about your first chapter of this module, that is classes and objects, wherein we just saw how to define a class. Class can be defined by class keyword followed by the name, and after that you have the string that is called as doc string. which is going to give you the brief description about the class. Then we also saw how to create an object or an instance. How we can create, just call the name of the class and open and close the bracket, and this is your object name. Okay, then how you can assign the values, that is nothing but here attributes. You can say for this object the attributes are x and y, you have to assign the values to that. So the different ways we saw in the program. Then one more example was of rectangle. Then we also said instances can be the return type. Then how you're going to change the value. You can either change it within the function, or this way also is possible. Finally, you have copy. When you're copying, what happens? Only the values will be copied, but still they will be two different objects. Okay. So we'll wind up with this.